Hey everyone, Cristiferbeast here. In today's video, I'll be attempting to explain the combat lanes and map flow of Kjerstin. So without any more delay, let's just get right into this. First things first, let's quickly define what a combat lane is. Combat lanes are areas where players gravitate towards and are motivated by map factors to move in a certain direction. These are patterns that can be used to predict player movement and anticipate areas of high combat. So with that in mind as the definition, we should look at a map that I created specifically for Kjerstin to mark out where I think combat lines are on this map. So specifically, this is a map of the two main combat lines with the heavy combat regions in them marked. Now, it should be noted that one of these two will have more players, and it is highly dependent on where the POI spawn. If you get the north signals, then the north lane will have more people, and vice versa. However, regardless of the encounter, people should gravitate towards the shaded regions on this map and should relatively follow the arrows. And on one of these two combat lines, we have the southern combat lane. This lane runs all the way from the exit that is located in the far southeast to the point of heavy combat density we can see in the southwest. Anyone who has played Kjerstin will agree that the southwest is an area of heavy player density and combat, and that the south road is decently busy. The reason for the flow going in the direction it does is that moving to the west is more likely to put you near, the exit, while moving to the east is more likely to put you near POIs, loot, buildings, so you're more likely to go west. Really, the nature of the thin nature of the road is a big factor here, because also people were more likely to gravitate towards areas with more buildings in it than areas that are very thin and only have one house in it, as we see in the eastern side. I think most of you will agree with how I mapped this southern lane. Up to the northeast, we have yet another combat lane, and this one starts at the dam in the far west and moves all the way across to the tall mountain with the signal spawn in the east. Combat flows here for several reasons, the main one being the signal spawn. However, if there is no signal spawn, combat still flows this way due to the power of the high ground on that tall mountain, as well as many airdrop spawns that are in this area. Another thing that amplifies the importance of this lane and why it flows as it does is the real lack of proper flow or lanes anywhere else in the north or east, which is something I'm going to be getting back to in a second. Now, those are the two main combat lines. If you came here for suggestions on where players should be pulling and how they should be moving, that's that. But now it's time for me to address some of the points of criticism I have regarding how this map works. First things first, the dam is not the center of the map, a key location, or even in a combat lane at all. I think that the dam is the real defining feature of the map, as well as one of the most impressive aspects of the map. This is kind of a problem in my eyes. The real issue is that nobody's willing to spend an entire encounter inside an area that is essentially a pocket map located out of the way of conveniences like airdrop and signals. This isn't detrimental to the map as a whole, just a piece of sadness and real disappointment, since in effect, it causes the dam to be devoid of combat and really we don't really get to see the interior combat that everyone was so excited about regarding the dam. Now, for my looter-based fans, this really should be good news for you. If nobody's going to the dam, you should be able to go there uncontested. The loot density of the dam is pretty much unparalleled in the game. So if you're a looter, I'd highly suggest putting it on your list of spots to go to, because you're probably not going to be contested, and it is a lot of loot. Next, we have flow between the two main lines. The map I just put up is all possible flow lanes, areas that pushing through wouldn't put you at a tremendous disadvantage to campers or other stupidities. And looking at it, you can see four main areas that can be used to cross from the north to the south line, and really all four options are not great. Nobody wants to go all the way west to just cross north to south. Almost nobody wants to cross the top of the dam. Crossing this center lane is like asking to be sniped from either of the two high grounds that are just watching over it. And leaving really the only real option being a strange trek through the woods that is just frankly inconvenient as all hell. This makes switching lines difficult and inconvenient, meaning you're pretty likely to stay on the one side of the map you chose really early into the encounter for the entire encounter, which makes combat less common, I've noticed. Next, we have unused areas, which this map has a lot of. From the vast forested center, which is loot, POI, and enemy dry, to the Felcanton-esque east, which suffers pretty much the same problems. There's also the entire existence of the west, which the river makes inconvenient to get to. Not like it's even worth it to get there, since the loot is dry and there's no combat lanes there. So there's just a lot of areas that aren't really used on this map at all. and that does have its problems. The last thing I should mention before closing out this video is Bobo has suggested the existence of an alternate branch of the southern lane. I've marked it out on the map with the dark blue arrows. He believes that along this flattened part of the mountain here is another location of a combat lane for the southern lane. He argued that due to high ground and ease of getting to the hill that overlooks the bridge, this is an integral combat lane. I'll leave you guys to make the decision on that if you agree with him. But that's all I got for today. Hopefully this helps you, or at the very least entertain you guys. I intend on doing more map flow videos for most maps eventually, so make sure you're looking forward to that. If I were to give my general review of the map from a map flow perspective, I think it's a B or C tier. It's not the worst we have in the game, but it's definitely not one of the best. So it's very mediocre. The combat lines where they exist work really well, but they don't really exist properly. And yeah, that's my overall review. But until next time, this has been Cristiferbeast, and I'll see you all next time.